Namo Narayan. Namo Narayan, everybody. It's Sannyasi Shivani here. This is the first of video sadhana that we're going to be taking on this year of looking at this moment through a yogic lens from an astrological perspective. I am not an astrologer. Full caveats. I'm not an astrologer, but I do follow astrology quite closely, and current events, and looking at life in the West, specifically North America, because that's where we are, to figure out what this reality is through a yogic perspective. So personally, I get up in the morning and I look at the news and I understand where the planets are, and I take a step back and I look at what is the collective consciousness saying at this time, today, right now, in understanding of the cycles of the moon. So we've just a few days ago had a very, very strong full moon. I don't know if you can feel it, but I personally have been feeling like I've been hit by a truck. There's so much new energy coming through. And now we're moving into the offerings of the new moon, which is going to be on the 11th of February. So there's two like really interesting bodies of planets right now that I want to bring to your attention, because they are so clearly having a very, very profound effect on a collective consciousness scale and on an individual scale. And personally, I feel if there's a little bit of understanding, if there's a little bit of awareness on these things, then it makes navigating our day-to-day so much easier. And so that's my intention for this. So the first body of planets I want to bring to your awareness is what is in Aquarius right now. And that is Saturn, okay, which is the teacher. The Saturn is about the past. It's the karmas that have to come through. Jupiter is a magnifier. We always call Guru Jupiter, because, or Jupiter Guru, one or the other, because that amplifies what is there so you can see it clearly. Okay, and then you have Mercury, and of course Mercury is related to Gemini, which is about mental energy and clarity and communication, she says as she uses her words. So the thing right now with Aquarius is that Aquarius is connected to the people, so the collective consciousness, okay, and when you have such a strong karmic body coming through, now don't forget with Vesta and the conjunction with Saturn and Jupiter in Capricorn last year, this was what the frequency of COVID is, right? So we've still got this discord between the future and the past sort of coming through the people. That's really what I see as this positioning of Jupiter and positioning of Saturn, is that there's this push me pull you of that's coming through the people, and a lot of it is around communication, what our words are. And don't forget that from a yogic perspective, what we speak is the reality, and the samskaras come through Swadhisthana chakra, and Swadhisthana chakra is the portal into the third dimension, which mirrors Vishuddhi chakra, which is the portal in the fifth dimension. So what we speak through Vishuddhi chakra is actually the embodiment of the samskaras, or the impressions that we have connected to within the emotional body coming into the third dimension. So to put that in real simple terms, the choice of words that we use creates our reality in this third dimensional world. Simple as that, but really, really challenging, because so many times we will say things that we don't even realize the power that we're giving our words. Yeah. So we've got this Saturn, Jupiter, and Mercury are in the house of the people, which is Aquarius right now. But then the planet that is ruled by Aquarius is Uranus. And Uranus, Lilith, and as of the 6th of January, Mars is in Taurus. Now, I think that this is super fascinating because Taurus is an earth element. And Taurus is related, so the earth element, so Muladhara chakra, okay, is connected to food, security. It's connected to government. It's a first ray frequency is Taurus, right? Because of the earth element. So it's about government. It's about money, anything to do with money. And it's about food. So being that Uranus, which is like, Uranus is a gas planet, so it's very electrical in its qualities. Like, it moves fast, like it invokes change. It's irrevocable change is what Uranus does. Now we're in a cycle of 7 years of Uranus being in Taurus, from 2019 to about 2026, and this is a very 7-year cycles are very, very common for all human experiences, right? Where you have a 7-year cycle of something. That's why I think they call it the 7-year itch when you're married. That if you can get past 7 years, then you're pretty good. So Uranus creates irrevocable change. Okay, so if you've got irrevocable change, and then you have this karma with Saturn in Aquarius, what you're looking at is fundamental change. Now, this sounds silly because you're like, of course, I already know we're going through fundamental changes. But what I want you to understand is that the changes that are happening are needing to be flowed with. Okay, we need to flow with change. We need to soften a little bit to change. I mean, the first rule of yogis is adapt, adjust, and accommodate, right? And the ego does not like change. So when the ego is being asked to recalibrate on a very fundamental level, on a very big scale, then a lot of resistance comes up. And so then you get this split in the collective consciousness. Now, if you want an example of that, you can easily look at the Democrats and the Republicans of in America right now, right? You've got this complete splitting apart, or even just within the Republican Party. But you've got this pattern over and over about things they're not going to come back to unity. Unity cannot come through while both parties are holding on to their sides. Okay, so with Uranus being irrevocable change, and of course Uranus is the planet, for Aquarius, it is irrevocable change in the people, right? In the collective consciousness. Now, with COVID, you're looking at a complete recalibration of Anahat chakra. Okay, you're looking at a virus that attacks the lungs, the heart, the nervous system. The nervous system is connected to the mind, which is manomaya kosha, which is the higher mind, or very much connected to the intuitive mind. And Anahat is the foundation of the 5th dimension. Okay, so what, from a yogic perspective, I'm seeing right now is that we are being asked to completely recalibrate our foundation. And that means our relationship to food. It means the way that we are governed, and it means how we run with money, right? What is money, how that is valued, right? The fundamental values of our being. We've talked for many years of, ascension and 5th dimensional paradigms and all of these very lofty ideas. But what I've seen in communities and what I've seen in students and what I see a lot is people wanting to ascend, wanting to change, wanting to shift paradigms without change. And it doesn't happen. You can't hold on to the lower frequency and expand into a new calibration of a higher frequency. And these are the foundations that are happening right now. So with the heart, with Anahat Chakra, you have COVID, which is like a huge deep cleaning of that collective grief, right? Which is why I believe we have had in the last year the very, very necessary understanding of systemic racism coming to the surface of Black Lives Matter and all of these this light that's been put on what is the foundation and the grief that the collective is sitting in. And so it's so important. And to me, there is no difference between COVID and these foundational aspects of ignorance that we are experiencing, that we have bought into, that we embody, right? And so really there's no difference. You have, ice and you have steam. They look different, but on a frequency level, there's actually no difference, right? So you've got that foundation, and now you've got this foundation with Taurus, where you've got Mars, which can be very much wants to push forward, but then you've got Lilith in Taurus, which is the dark moon, which says, hey, but there's stuff you don't understand yet. There's not everything is shown. There's pieces that are not, there's pieces that cannot be seen yet, right? So the fear, the ego keeps wanting to go, well, I know what's right, and I know what's this, and I know how we should be doing this, and I know that this, blah, blah, blah. Anytime right now that you say the two words, I know, I want you to take a breath. Because the very fact that Lilith is in Taurus, sitting in between Uranus and Mars, says, we don't know. We don't have the clarity right now to understand how to push forward in the foundation, because we haven't quite yet unraveled our grip on the old ways first. Right? On whether you want to look at it as capitalism or industrialism or, these ways, it's like we have to be willing to let go of those ways, of the supposed security that we find in those ways or think we find in those ways. And we've got to be able to soften to those concepts so that the clarity of the new concepts can come through, because you cannot hold on to who you are and evolve into who you are supposed to be at the same time. There has to be, you cannot go from a caterpillar to a butterfly in a weekend retreat. You just cannot. It doesn't work, which is why we have these 7-year cycles and 12-year cycles and things like that. This is the long game, people. Do not think we're going to be like, everybody's vaccinated and when masks are off and that. No, this is the long game. We've got to be able to be okay without knowing. We've got to be okay in who we are, which means that as this huge tornado storm is happening around us, as yogis and yoginis, right? As the storm is happening around us, we need to be able to sit in the eye of the storm. And what that means is anytime you're looking for camaraderie of being influenced by this is good and this is bad and this is bad, right? The dualism. Anytime you feel like you're getting sucked into the righteous dualism, okay, I want you to take a breath, okay? And it's not that this is not right and it's not that this is not wrong, okay? It's that in this moment, understand that the more you push to this way, the pendulum has to swing and be balanced and be pushed to this way. And if you want this to change, then this has to change. That is how you get yoga. This is how you get unity, because it transcends the dualism. Okay? It's about transcending the dualism. So you feel the push and the pull. Watch the influences, okay? Because the tamasic aspect of that is mob mentality. And we're seeing that super clearly in the collective right now, right? Of mob mentality. And then the mob mentality creates this other faction of the righteousness. And they cannot meet. It's like the North and the South Pole trying to come together. They can't meet. But when we come out of the mob mentality of losing our identity into that mob mentality, and then we come into the ego of righteousness, the next stage is sattva, which is sovereignty. Right? So we have now sovereignty and losing your identity as normal with tamas and sattva. They look super similar. Like they're both still, right? So rajas is very dynamic and tamas is still and sattva is still. And a lot of times people think they're being very sattvic when actually they're being very tamasic. And that is because they're sucked into the inertia. And they've confused inertia with peace, right? So watch this push me, pull you of Saturn pulling us back, going, no, you have to deal with the past first. And Mars trying to push everything forward of like, no, we need the new ways, the new foundations. And I want you to just take this next little while to breathe and to say, I don't know. Because I think that those are three really magical words right now that are going to actually liberate a lot of hearts. I don't know. And in this moment, I don't know. And understanding that needing to know is actually a compulsion of fear and of needing to control. And so I don't know actually allows a little surrender, because everything that is happening needs to happen. Everything that is happening is required to happen for us to move forward, right? The caterpillar must completely dissolve in the cocoon for it to grow its wings so that it can fly. And right now with Uranus and Taurus, we are, I feel, in this 7-year cocoon of who are you going to be? Which paradigm are you going to run? Because this is it. This is the age of Aquarius. This is our opportunity to shift the foundations of our reality on Earth. But it's not going to be done by rajasically pushing. Because the more we rajasically push, the more we are going to get huge resistance. So we need to let those two levels of consciousness duke it out. And we yogis need to sit and go, I don't know right now. Right now, I'm going to look at food. I'm going to look at how I respond to food. I'm going to look how I respond to money, because this is Taurus. This is Muladhara Chakra, new foundational stuff, right? I'm going to look at poverty consciousness. I'm going to look at how we help others. I'm going to look at how my survival is paramount above others, because it's not. And this is old paradigm thinking. Right? Namo Narayan Atma. It's lovely to see you. So these are some thoughts. Now, just one more thing I want to put on your radar. When Mars came into Taurus, so the fire and the volatility within the foundation, which of course is the money, which is what's happening with Wall Street right now, with food, which we haven't fully experienced yet, but wait for it, it's coming by your pasta this week, and with your governments, okay? Mars went into Taurus on the 6th of January, okay? Now, if you need a refresher on what the 6th Priyatma, yes, I'm sorry. If you need a refresher on what happened on the 6th of January, that was the Capitol riots. And it's going to be moving out of Taurus on the 4th of March, which of course has been touted as when another wave of separatism is going to try and enforce itself on the collective. Just understand that we when we have awareness of how these patterns and how these planets are moving through our collective consciousness, we then have the ability to choose where we go, and we have an ability to choose what we say, and we have an ability to choose how we act. Because if everybody can find the eye of the storm inside of themselves, if everybody can find the peace inside of themselves, if everybody can find the unity inside of themselves, then that frequency rippling out is world peace. So that's what I got right now. The keys are: look at your foundations, look at the heart and the grief, and understanding that to create a new foundation, we have to be able to let go of control a little bit. This is why ashram life is so important, because it gives us such a great training ground for letting go of control so that we can be in the cocoon. And in that cocoon, be willing to say, I don't know. And in the I don't know is not a lack of action or a lack of awareness. It is understanding that in the bigger picture, not everything is seen right now. So, Namo Narayan. I hope this is helpful. If you have questions, please email the office at office@ishtadevniwas.ca. I will put the link on this. This video is going to be put up on YouTube. So please head over to Ishtadev Niwas Ashram on YouTube and hit subscribe. Our aim this year is to get to 1,000 subscribers. Once we can do that, we have another project that we're going to be doing for a next level outreach, which I'm really excited about, but we need 1,000 subscribers first. So here we are. We're going for it. I hope you have a beautiful day. Any questions can go to the office. Namo Narayan.